A courtroom in France, 1386. The judge sits at the bench. A prosecutor presents evidence. Witnesses testify. The defendant stands accused of murder. So far, this sounds normal. Medieval justice at work. A standard trial. Except the defendant is a pig. Not a person, a pig, an actual pig, standing trial for murder in a court of law, with a prosecutor arguing for conviction, with witnesses describing the crime, with a defense attorney trying to save the pig's life. This actually happened. In Falaise, France, 1386. A pig attacked a child. The child died from the wounds, and the pig was arrested, imprisoned, put on trial, found guilty, and executed by hanging. They hanged a pig, legally, after a proper trial, with formal proceedings and everything. This isn't folklore. It's documented history. Court records exist. We know the pig's crime. We know the verdict. We even know the execution cost the town 10 sous and 10 deniers. Medieval Europe put animals on trial, and sometimes they executed them. Welcome to one of the strangest chapters in legal history. The crime. It starts with an attack. A pig, someone's livestock, attacks a child in the town of Falaise, in Normandy. The details are brutal. The pig bit the child's face and arms, mauled them badly. This isn't unusual for the era. Pigs in medieval Europe aren't the clean-penned animals we know today. They roam streets freely, eat garbage. They're semi-wild, aggressive, and dangerous. Pig attacks happen regularly. But this attack is fatal. The child dies from their wounds, and when a death occurs, someone must be held accountable. In 1386, that someone is the pig. The authorities arrest the pig, actually arrest it. They put the pig in prison, the same prison where human criminals are kept. The pig is kept in a cell, fed at the town's expense, treated as a criminal defendant awaiting trial. This seems insane to us. A pig in prison? Why? Because medieval law demands it. In medieval thinking, when a wrong occurs, justice must be served. Someone or something must pay. The pig committed murder, therefore the pig must face justice. It's not enough to just kill the pig. That would be practical but not legal. The pig must be tried, found guilty, sentenced, executed properly. Medieval justice isn't about efficiency. It's about process, about maintaining order, about demonstrating that law applies to all creatures. Even pigs. The trial. The trial is formal, completely, absurdly formal. The pig gets a defense attorney, an actual lawyer assigned to defend it. This isn't a joke. The town pays the lawyer's fees. It's all recorded in the town's financial documents. The prosecutor presents the case. Witnesses testify. They saw the attack. They describe the injuries. They confirm the child's death. The evidence is clear. The pig is guilty. But the defense attorney actually tries to defend the pig. This is his job. He's being paid. He has to make arguments. What does he say? We don't have transcripts of the exact arguments, but based on similar trials, the defense probably argues, did the pig have intent? Was it provoked? Was the child perhaps tormenting the pig? Can an animal be held to the same standard as a human? These are legitimate legal questions. Medieval courts actually debate them. They take animal trials seriously. The prosecutor counters. The pig killed. Murder occurred. Intent doesn't matter. The act itself demands punishment. Society must be protected. Justice must be served. The judge deliberates, considers the evidence, reviews the law, and finds the pig guilty of murder. The sentence, death by hanging. The execution. The execution is public. Of course it is. Medieval executions are always public. They're meant to be seen, to serve as deterrents, to demonstrate that justice has been done. They build a gallows. The pig is brought out, dressed in human clothes. This detail appears in multiple accounts of animal executions. They put a vest or tunic on the pig. Make it look somewhat human. Why? Because the pig is being executed as a person, as a criminal. If you're going to treat an animal like a human in court, you treat it like a human at execution. A crowd gathers, the executioner prepares, and they hang the pig. Not quickly or efficiently like you'd butcher an animal, formally, ceremonially, following the same procedures used for human criminals. The pig dies. Justice, according to medieval law, has been served. And the town records the expenses, 10 sous and 10 deniers for the execution. It's all documented, official, legal. A pig was tried and executed for murder in 1386, and everyone involved thought this was completely normal. Why this happened? To understand why medieval Europe tried animals, you have to understand medieval thinking about law and order. Medieval people believed in cosmic order. Everything had its place. Laws governed all creation, humans, animals, even nature itself. When that order was disrupted, it had to be restored. A pig killing a child disrupts order, not just social order, cosmic order. The universe is out of balance. Justice must restore that balance. Simply killing the pig isn't enough. That's practical but not restorative. The pig must be tried, found guilty, sentenced, executed properly. Only then is order restored. There's also a religious element. Medieval Christianity taught that humans have dominion over animals. But with dominion comes responsibility. If your animal commits a crime, you've failed in your responsibility. So animals are tried, not because medieval people think pigs understand law. They're not stupid, but because the process itself matters. The trial demonstrates that law is being upheld, that society takes justice seriously, that even animal crimes receive proper legal attention. It's not about the pig. It's about everyone watching, about showing that no crime goes unpunished, that law and order prevail, even when the criminal is livestock. This wasn't unique. Here's the really wild part. The 1386 pig trial wasn't unusual. Animal trials happened regularly throughout medieval Europe. In 1474, a rooster was tried and executed in Basel, Switzerland. The crime? Laying an egg. Male chickens shouldn't lay eggs. It was considered unnatural, possibly demonic, so they tried the rooster for sorcery and burned it at the stake. In 1386, the same year as the pig, a pig in Falaise attacked another child. Different pig, same town, same year. Also tried and executed. Lightning struck twice. In 1457, a sow and her 6 piglets were tried for murdering a child in Savigny, France. The sow was convicted and hanged. The piglets were acquitted due to their youth and the sow's bad influence. They were released. Yes, a medieval court acquitted piglets because they were juveniles being led astray by their mother. The court applied the same reasoning you'd use for human children. Throughout the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries, hundreds of animal trials occurred. Pigs, mostly, but also horses, cows, dogs, roosters, rats, even insects. In 1545, the town of Saint-Julien prosecuted agricultural pests, weevils destroying crops. The court issued a summons to the weevils. When they didn't appear, they appointed a defense attorney for them. The trial continued in absentia. Medieval courts would try anything. If it caused harm, it could face justice. The logic of insanity. From our perspective, this is madness. Trying animals, executing pigs, summoning weevils to court. It's absurd. But medieval people weren't stupid. They were working from different premises, different assumptions about how the world worked. They believed in hierarchical order, in divine law governing all creation, in the importance of formal process, in the need to demonstrate justice publicly. Within that framework, animal trials make sense, not practical sense, but legal and cosmic sense. We think law should be pragmatic, efficient, based on evidence and outcomes. Medieval law is about order, process, demonstration, about maintaining the cosmic balance. Different goals, different methods, same human desire for justice. We've just changed what justice means, and who or what it applies to. When it ended. Animal trials declined in the 16th and 17th centuries. As Europe moved toward the Enlightenment, toward rational thinking and scientific understanding, the practice seemed increasingly ridiculous. By the 1700s, educated Europeans were embarrassed by animal trials. They seemed medieval, and not in a good way. They seemed primitive, superstitious, irrational. Courts quietly stopped prosecuting animals. The last recorded animal execution in Europe was in 1906, a dog in Switzerland. But by then, it was an anomaly, a bizarre holdover from an earlier era. Today, animal trials are legal history, a weird footnote, something that happened but that we can barely understand. We've kept trials, kept formal legal processes, kept the idea that justice requires proper procedure. We've just stopped applying it to pigs. What we've lost and gained. Looking back at animal trials reveals something interesting. Medieval people took law incredibly seriously. Maybe too seriously. They believed process mattered more than efficiency, that formal justice was worth the cost, even for a pig. We've lost that. Modern justice is about efficiency, about processing cases quickly, about practical outcomes. We'd never spend time and money trying a pig. We'd just kill it and move on. That's probably good. Trying pigs is absurd, but we've also lost something. That sense that process matters, that justice isn't just about outcomes, but about how we get there. Medieval animal trials are ridiculous, but they show a society that believed law applied universally, that nothing was beneath legal consideration, that cosmic order mattered enough to try a pig for murder. We're more practical now, more efficient, more rational, but also more willing to cut corners, to skip process when it's inconvenient. Medieval Europe would never. They'd rather try a pig. And honestly, there's something admirable about that commitment, even if the application is completely insane. The final verdict. So here's what happened in 1386. A pig attacked a child. The child died. And medieval France responded by arresting the pig, putting it on trial, finding it guilty of murder, and executing it by hanging. All formal, all legal, all documented in town records. A pig got due process. It's one of the strangest intersections of law and livestock in human history, a moment when medieval thinking about justice collided with the reality of keeping pigs in towns. The result? They hanged a pig. By our standards, it's madness. By medieval standards, it was justice. Both perspectives exist. Both are valid within their contexts. And that's what makes the story so fascinating. It's not just weird history. It's a window into a completely different way of thinking about law, order, and what justice means. We don't try pigs anymore. We've evolved past that, become more practical, more rational. But somewhere in France, In 1386, a pig stood in a courtroom and faced justice, had a lawyer, had a trial, had the full weight of medieval law applied to it. And then it was hanged. History is weird, and sometimes it's weirder than we can possibly imagine. Even when it's thoroughly documented.